Where were we? Good evening, everybody. It's System Chalk here with the 72nd episode, I think, of Ike Upscribe, the Apostle Obsonate. It's been a little bit, so let's just do a review of the board. We were working on, I think if I recall correctly, I was on my way to trying to decide whether or not I could get another location from the Lone and Level Sands. We currently have unresolved ambiguities, and we are... I think it's a glimmering? No, it's a fascination away from being able to upgrade the unresolved ambiguity. We do have a dread coming up, so if I were to generate a actually. So if I, this is a little bit of a risky strategy, but I think this is going to work overall. So with the Savorous Blood, we will have, so we've got 104 seconds left of that. Our Delightful Blood will last 155 seconds. So we've got a little less than a minute to consume that. And of course, we know that when we consume the Delightful Blood, we'll get a fascination out of it. That I can use to move the to improve the unresolved ambiguity. There is, of course, the worry that it will breed, and of course, if we have a season of visions coming up, that's even more frightening. And then the other nice thing about this is that's roughly going to coincide with this winter influence decaying. So, in practice, probably the worst that I have to fear is either a single fascination if it breeds, or potentially we eliminate the threats. That's kind of assuming everything falls in my favor. It could be that in 23 seconds we're going to see a season of visions or a season of despair. Although I guess the season of despair wouldn't be a worry because it's going to take a while for this icy atmosphere to decay. But we do have a credible game plan as far as turning this unresolved ambiguity into something that we'll be able to explore. So I think it's worth taking the time to wait and sort of lock that in. Actually, the more I think of it, I think I could still start the expeditions and still have enough time to get that upgrade done. So I suppose maybe I should start sending minions out. Before I do any of that, I am going to take the time to summon, at the very least, something like a Callagine and maybe a Maid in the Mirror. I think I was going to summon a Maid in the Mirror with this. But I think that's the plan for now. So yeah, we're not going to touch any of this stuff. I will jump between Glover and summonings, and then we'll sort of take it from there. This does also mean that I'm going to have to cut off my income flow from Glover and Glover, because it means we'll be generating notoriety through the expeditions, but that's a price I'm willing to pay. Obviously, we've got a pretty good cushion. We'll need the bronze spin tray in a little bit. Receive currency of the secret world, and my patron has let tantalizing information slip. So there's our glimmering. So I'd love to work on Madame Bichet's Grail Commission, but the summoning is... the summoning is more important, but it doesn't mean anything if I don't have any influence. So I suppose it makes as much sense for me to fulfill that commission. Unless I really want to panic for the... Well, okay. This fascination is actually useful to me, so I'm going to grab it. Oh, interesting. I wonder if this is deliberate or not. So this is a little bit different from what the plan was originally going to be. In this case here, we're going to go to the Stag Door. This is because I do need to get influence for the summonings. It does mean, however, in 27 seconds I'm going to be able to work on the upgrade for the unresolved ambiguity. It does leave me without something to do for the Savorous Blood, so I've sort of just shifted everything over by a little bit. But I still think I have ways of getting the dread. The thing that'll really hurt me is if we have a season of visions coming up in 2 seconds. Well, I guess it would be a minute and 2 seconds, but in the meantime, let's have a chat with Tristan to fix the mirror. Obviously, I do want to turn in with Madame Bichet at some point, but we're going to be waiting, so... My illness has damaged my health. I'll need to rest before I'm fully recovered. Cure your affliction with funds or vitality. Now, it's probably unlikely that I'm going to get a vitality out of this, so we should probably spend money on it. Of course, I need to make sure that all my ducks are in a row because the Savor's Blood's going to run out. Yeah, we might be able to make it all work. And of course, we have a Season of Visions. So, I have a game plan. You know what? I think I'm probably just going to play it safe. I'll turn the chilly atmosphere... Okay, no. My dream slot's going to be really tied up, but I'm going to turn the chilly atmosphere into a dread. I'm going to nullify this fascination. I think it's too much of a risk. That does mean that my Peacock Door trip was a waste, but... Actually, I suppose the other thing that I could try would be to wait for the Season of Vision. No, because if I study the verb... Oh, actually... No, because the timings are different on that. Alright. Full moon appears, creatures are reborn, and even a lizard should not be slain, for it could be you. So, turns out this wasn't a Tantra that I'd read before, because we now have the Rite of the Rebel Striving and an Operation of the Labite. Okay, so... Let's just take a punt. Oops. I hate it when I do that. I reviewed the tidy columns of figures in my tidy 5th floor room. From my office window, I can see the river. My secretary brings me a hot drink every 59 minutes. The river is the color of rain. Okay. Let's deal with the madness I just imposed on my table. All right. I'm kind of playing this by ear. So the way I kind of see this working is I should be able to pick up the fascination. We're almost certainly going to get something sort of taken in the Season of Visions. And I'm sort of banking on my ability to nullify it through other means. In the meantime, let's get that Grail commission done. And nothing to do with the expedition right now. Okay, so it's going to be decision time in 3.7 seconds. Okay, I think the subtle rupture makes sense in this case here. I am going to want to do a summoning, so... I almost caused myself tremendous grief there. In sleep, I ran my fingers along the ridged edges of the stag door's scars. Our company it was that shattered it, Gearby says suddenly. Before the gods who were flesh, the mantis was forbidden to mortals. We were the first no. He begins again to weep his molten tears. I wish that we had not. I wish I had died in the world. I've forgotten what else he said, but I remember the shape of the fissures in the stag door, and for all of today, doors will fear my touch. Okay, so the plan for the subtle rupture is to do a summoning. Now, the summoning's going to have to happen after I deal with my board seat at Glover and Glover. So, this affliction is going to come back to bite me. So I think I'm going to play it safe. I really wanted to throw the fascination, and if it came up in time, I would have done it. But in this case here, we're going to go for composure. So that's going to take a minute to process. Got into the night wisdom as a country, and these are its maps. Solve all the challenges on both fragments of lore to complete the research task. You can return to a task later if you fail. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is combine the Savorous Blood and the Delightful Blood in a minute. Yeah, see. I've either pretty much guaranteed decrepitude or for the delightful blood to expire. Because if that's going to take 60 seconds to cure. Although we will get another delightful blood, so I suppose there's the dread that I'll get in return. I probably should have thought this through a little bit more carefully. And then the next question is whether or not I'm willing to sacrifice the subtle rupture. Alright, this is a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find those pieces in odd corners of scholarship. So I got my Wandering Mirror back. We're not going to use that right away because I think we have more useful things to do with the dream slot, including through the stag door. So yeah, the game plan is going to be this. I know that there are feelings in terms of how decrepitude is useful to players. I just don't. Again, part of this is enjoying being a particular character. And the thing for me is that I've not really played a lot of characters, except maybe the ghoul, who would willingly want to take on decrepitude. So, you know, obviously, you know, it's an option in the game, and you can imagine it. But for me, I've never really quite been able to reconcile it in my head. So I tend not to do that sort of thing. So in this case here, probably my priority is going to be dealing with the affliction. That's going to mean the delightful blood goes away, but that's also not necessarily a bad thing, because in 27 seconds we're going to get our package from Paul Samuelson. We're going to have some dread to nullify the fascination, or the potential fascination. And of course we can get rid of dread through other means if it turns out not to be necessary. So it's going to be a little awkward, and I'm not going to get my fascination in time, but I think this is the right path. All right, I finished the manuscript, so we're going to turn that in with Madame Bichet. I should have talked to Dr. Redeem over this period of time. So we're going to go to Glover and Glover. This means the subtle rupture gets eaten up after a little bit, but that's life. We should still be able to turn that into a summoning. I do tend to like it when I get the knock influence, just because usually I have all the lore. I have everything I need from the other sources. Man, we're really getting a lot of Iron Spintrea. It's the one that I don't need. But yeah, so generally I have enough in terms of lore and followers from the other aspects that I can tend to summon the things that I want. It's usually the influence that determines what kind of summoning I do. Okay. Yeah, level 6 I should be able to handle. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions, it's over for now. Now, of course, the other thing that I should have said was with the delightful blood. Oh, actually. For some reason, I thought this wasn't going to work out. So, fair enough. We're going to have a leftover delightful blood. I think it's because I thought I needed to do the affliction first, but I remember it doesn't take the full minute, so... Okay, secret histories, so that's probably going to get me another Iron Spintrea. Let's have a chat with Count Jannings before we do anything else. Again, we're not going to do any of these commissions because we need to get our summoning done first. My studies have been stymied for now. Of course, we'll have the fascination, so I'm not too worried about it. I am recovered. More than that, I am sumptuous. The sclera of my eyes, the veins in my wrists are aswim with gorgeous serums. When the vitulation comes, I will be the centerpiece for a delight to prove their appetite and enact the grail. Alright. So that's going to go into the study verb when the time comes. For now, let's not give in to decrepitude. The medicine is dark and bitter as tar. It would be easy to suspect I am being poisoned. And a courier has arrived from our delight with a single vial of their most holy blood. Now this means that there's sort of a liability on the board for me, so in 238 seconds I'm going to need to find something to deal with that. Also, I'm going to have to find a way of dealing with the fascination in 48 seconds. And with 14 seconds passing by, it is entirely possible that this fascination is actually going to get picked up by the Season of Visions popping up. That's really inconvenient. I'm going to shoot for it, but the timing is going to be incredibly narrow. All right. Now, very substantial commission. This probably means I'm still not going to get a bronze spintraya. This will probably turn into a silver, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. But again, we're not going to be touching those for a bit. I feel like I should be doing something else, though. We've already repaired everything, so nope, nothing to talk about for now. I do want to be really careful on the timings, though. Okay, so 34 seconds before the next event. 30 seconds to turn over, but I don't think it takes me to the fascination event immediately. There's nothing we can really do about the fascination because I decided to heal with the dream verb, so this thing's gonna be eaten up no matter what. But clearly, it's just because of the possibility that I might be able to use this fascination as an input. Although, come to think of it, it would get pulled out by the... Yeah, so this fascination's getting picked up no matter what, and this study is almost certainly going to fail. I review tidy columns of figures in the tidy 5th floor room. From my office window, I can see the river. My secretary brings me a hot drink every 59 minutes. The river is the color of rain. So, but again, I'm not too worried about that simply because I'm going to be able to... The fleeting reminiscence will automatically be picked up. Or no, it won't be, because it's 82 seconds for both of these, and this is going to arrive in 23 seconds. Again, there's ways I can exploit it, but we'll make it work. We do need to do the summoning, though, otherwise there's no point. So, Sunset Rite, Subtle Fracture. Let's go for Caligine. So, we'll add a Winter Assistant. Summon a creature of smoky deception, forge for the smoky spirit, summoning winter for its binding. It must know who will rule it. Actually, I have an idea about how I'm going to get that fascination. Let's get Dorothy to go on a walk. So yeah, Wisdom is a country, these are its maps, and the fascination's already gone, so it's not going to matter. So that was a blunder on my part, but it's not something that we will. It's not fatal to the run. It just does it. What it's done is it's made sure that I'm more delayed in terms of getting the expedition done. But we're on our way to picking up the summonings, so even then, that's not a major concern. Now, I do need to be a little careful in terms of how I handle this. So I can go to Street Strange by moonlight. The reason I don't want to do that right now is if I stack up my fascination, that's only going to cause me more problems. So what I want to do for the time being is so one thing I'll do to maintain the summon is to either paint it or talk with it. So yeah, this would have been the nice point to put the fascination in. The thing that I didn't really recognize when I was doing my plans was, because this is a magnet and this isn't, even if I'd put the fascination down, it would have been picked up. Alright. Not all the Forge's children are bright. Its offcuts and its bastards gather like in the bounds like hammer scale in the cracks of the smithy floor. Here comes one now. So, what I can do here is I can either send this Caligine out to explore, or I can talk with it. In either case, I am provoking 8 moth. So each time I do that, I'm potentially generating old unhappy far-off things, which will turn into restlessness, which in turn will produce dread. And so that's a potential way that I can deal with fascination. Another possibility is if a season of dread comes by, as long as I don't generate any dread during a season of despair, that's going to turn into fleeting reminiscence, and again we're safe. The one thing I do want to avoid are any activities that might wind up producing more fascination. So this means I need to have a very good reason to visit the river. for instance. But other than that, I kind of already know the paths that I need to take to avoid, generating too much fascination. So overall, this was a blunder of in the run. We did finish our final reading. We didn't get the last location that we wanted. We're not as far behind as it might seem in terms of this one, just simply because we need the summons anyway, and we didn't really waste any of our summoning material. One thing I might want to check would be to see whether or not I can use a fleeting reminiscence in the summoning. I don't think I have enough of my other, my other aspects to be able to pull that off. I can go in with only one summoning, but it would be kind of nice if I had, something a little bit extra. Even let's say something like a percussive wouldn't go amiss. So whether or not we would have started the expeditions by the end of this session, I'm not entirely sure. If maybe by the end of the next one we haven't started on the expeditions, then I'll sort of think that we're behind. But one way or the other, I'm at the point where I want to be generating, maybe not generating notoriety, but I do want to be filling up my library. We did get some bad luck in terms of upgrading the fascination. But even then, that's just so we can get another location in the Lone and Level Sands to make the most of the summons that we already have. And of course, we don't necessarily need to be on, we can do that while we're on the expedition. The summons don't expire that quickly. All of that, though, is going to be dealt with in the next few episodes. So as always, thank you very much for watching. I do always thank you for the comments. I know it's been a little more quiet lately, but there's a few of you. Actually, I've noticed a few of you are sort of discovering this, but it's really obvious the progress some people are making. That is something that delights me. So even if you've commented on the old ones, it's still really fun. I'm glad so many of you are still enjoying this series. If you've not done so already, you can subscribe, and there's a little notification bell if you want to know when the videos go live. Otherwise, I do this. These should be live at 6:30 Eastern Time on Wednesdays and Fridays. And with that in mind, I will see you all Friday for the next episode. Have a good evening.